Hi everyone, it's Ty from TCG Block here. I'm here to showcase my Pure Rika deck profile today. Similar to Josh's Pure Spirit Charmer deck build from a couple weeks ago, this isn't going to have any out of archetype hand traps, no Nibiru's, no Ash Blossoms, no Droll and Lockbirds, none of that. This is purely to show off Rika cards and either in archetype cards or cards within the theme. If you want, you could edit this. You could take this deck and edit it to make it, ready for your locals, ready for your YCS, and add in, Nibiru's, Ashes, whatnot. But this is my version of the deck, and this is a deck that I find really fun to play. It came out in Secret Slayers, and I feel like it was overlooked because of the immense strength of Adamancipator's and Eldritch. But this whole deck goes off tributing your monsters and recurring each turn. It has incredible strength to recur next turn, next turn, next turn, next turn, to keep going. It doesn't have the most grind potential in Yu-Gi-Oh, but it has a lot. So I'm going to go through each card in the deck and give you a quick rundown on what they do and how they help the deck. We start off with the absolutely incredible card, Rika Petal. An absolute must-have 3 of. Each turn she'll allow you to take a Rika monster from your deck and add it to your hand, and if she's in the graveyard during your opponent's end phase, she can special summon herself back to the field. So she is absolutely a 3 of. At a 1-star, you have a couple ways to cheat her out, but she's the card that you want in your starting hand every single turn, no matter what. I run 3 of Mudan the Rika Fairy. Similar to how Rika Petal is an absolute must-of because she searches monsters, Mudan tributes one of the field to search a spell or trap. Again, absolute 3 of. Typically the play is you Rika Petal, get the search of a monster, you'll search Mudan, tribute her off, search a spell or trap, yada yada yada. Or if you've already got Mudan, use Rika Petal to search something else. It's absolutely incredible, 3 of. I want her in my hand constantly. For the last Rika we run 3 of, we run 3 Primula, the Rika Fairy. Her effect being that she's essentially just a combo extender. When a monster I control is tributed, she special summons herself from the hand. So again, you pretty much always want her in your hand because you're always going to be tributing every turn. So she's just going to be extending. For the Rika we run 2 of, we run 2 Snowdrop the Rika Queen. Tribute herself to special summon herself and one other from your hand, and she changes levels when she's on the field. So the best part about her is the changing levels, which gets you into any of your Xyz monsters, essentially. And that's where your real heavy hitters come in. That's where your game sealers come in. There's the other 3 Rika monsters, which I run one of, which are Cyclamen, Erica, and Hellbore. They're not that great, especially Cyclamen. I attempted to take her out at one point, but I like having her in there for a bit of variety. These are essentially, if you run any more, they're bricks. They're just tributes to when your opponent activates things. They're right, but these are the main cards. These are just extra ones I like for variety. I'll move on now to the non-Rika within themed monsters. You'll see what I mean in just a moment. So we run 3 Evil Thorns, pretty standard in a lot of plant decks. Tribute itself to special summon the other Evil Thorns from the deck, which can activate Primula's effect to special summon itself in the hand. So it's essentially an extender. It also gives you 2 extra bodies on the field for tributing. We run Rose Girl. Rose Girl is an absolute must-have in this deck. I've actually thought about upping her to 2 and taking out something else. If a monster I control is sent to the graveyard, even if it's by a tribute, she special summons herself from the hand. And if there's a plant monster in the field which is in the graveyard, she recurs herself back to the hand. It's just, again, the whole theme is recurring each turn, again, constantly, and Rose Girl just facilitates that so well. I'm then running 1 of the Lone Fire Blossom. If you've used a Plunder before, you know exactly what this is. This just gets me into Petal. I have other ways to get out Petal. They have an in-archetype search card, so I'm not typically running 3 because I like the other space, but you could run this at 3 and I wouldn't think twice about it. Then finally, rounding out the tech cards is Sunvine Maiden, which is a protection from my extra deck, which is also a plant monster and special summons itself from the field for another, material for a tribute. Just a bit of defensive protection, and it's a plant. Okay, with the monsters out of the way, I'll move on to the spells and traps. I'm going to start off with the Rikas, which first off, we play 3 Glamour. I mentioned before the in-archetype monster search, and that's Rika Glamour. Absolutely incredible. You can search 1, or if you tribute a Rika, you can search 2. Incredible, absolutely incredible. You run 3 of that. Gets you into Petal. If you don't open with Petal in your opening hand, you use that to search for Petal. I then run the second of the recur spells, the Recur Flurries. Continuous, where if you tribute a monster, your opponent must tribute a monster of their choice. It's great. I find if I run 3, it's a bit bricky, but I find 1 is not enough. You want this a lot, adds a lot of pressure to your opponent if you're going second. They are the only 2 Recur spells in the archetype. So I move on to the non-Recur spells now. We run 1 Upstart Goblin, 1 Miracle Fertilizer, 1 MST, 1 Raigeki, and then finally 1 1-for-1. So Upstart, MST, and Raigeki, I shouldn't have said too much, but a lot of people say, why aren't you running Twin Twisters? I like having the extra cards in my hand for tributing, and I run another back row removal later on. So right now it's just the MST. Miracle Fertilizer, I like it because it's a bit of a meme. It's also like a plant-based continuous spell monster reborn. Obviously Raigeki, I love it. It's secret rare. So 1-for-1 is to get into Petal, but slight irk that it's the only common in the whole deck. I'm very tempted to upgrade because I'm vain, but every other card in this deck is foil in some way or another. I'll now move on to the Recur Traps. I run 2 sheets, which is essentially a Crackdown with a tribute associated, and then 2 Tranquilities, which is a Call the Haunted with a tribute to special summon another. Essentially, they turn into, that turns into 2 interruptions, that turns into 1 the moment you have flurries, because every time you tribute, they must tribute 1. So you tribute 1, you steal 1, they get to tribute 1, you tribute 1, they get to tribute 1, you get 2. So they're essentially interruptions the moment you have flurries on the board, which is great. I absolutely love it. So they're the only 2 Recur Traps in the whole archetype. So I'll move on to the non-Recur Traps. Well, let me say the pseudo Recur Traps. 3 Polynosis, an Omni Negate at the cost of a tribute, which it should just be called Recur Polynosis, and that's 2 little Recur Petals or something, because this card is absolutely a Recur card. I love it. I play it at 3. I have 2 Solemn Strikes. Because I run 3 Polynosis, I don't need to run 3 Solemns. I find this is typically enough negates. I run 1 Typhoon just for a bit more back row removal, and then I run a singular Gozen Match. Helps, but it doesn't always help, so I only run the 1. Again, they're all foil because I'm vain and I like the foils in this deck. That runs out the 40. I'll now move on to the extra deck, short and sharp. I've mentioned this is pure, and boy is it pure. Teardrop, Strenna, Kanzashi. That's all I run in the extra deck. Incredible, not so incredible. If you looked into these cards at all, especially Teardrop, she's incredible. Strenna is an extender to go back into Teardrop, but Kanzashi is a bit disappointing, but that's fine. If you wanted to run out of archetype extra deck, you are more than welcome to. People slot in all the time. They slot in an Aromaseraphie Jasmine and a few other cards. But for me, this is how I like to run it. That about rounds out the deck. Again, this is an absolutely pure build for Recur about tributing and recurring each turn. If you wanted to edit it to go to your locals or to YTS or whatever, feel free. But this is one I've had success with and I find is really fun. If you've made it to this far through the video, thank you very, very much. Check out Josh's Spirit Charmer deck build he checked a couple weeks ago and his Harpy deck build. He's put a lot of work into those. Thank you very much, guys. We also have a basketball podcast if you're into basketball at all at the Lobot Podcast. We're on YouTube and Spotify and all good places. Have a good day. Bye.